coming up in a minute will be quite useful for you also. Little bit about the female entrepreneurship and my personal attitude to it. I remember my first program as a mentor when I joined to a hackathon dedicated on girls which are dealing with artificial intelligence. And initially I was wondering, okay, 14 years girl, what they can teach me or what I can teach them. And actually at the end, I bravely can say that they do not only teach me on a variety of things and skills and passion and motivation about the technology, but also they teach me how to be confident and how to and why to continue this working with the ecosystem. Of course, during the panel, we will share more data, more challenges, and of course, a lot of interesting stories coming from our ecosystem. For me, it's a great pleasure to represent our guest, and I will start with Plamena Cherneva, who is inspirational female entrepreneurs, and she is founder of AU Women Founders that Maria Gabriel mentioned in the morning, and I want to hear more about, of course, Plamena and what she's doing.
Thank you very much, and thank you actually for having me here today. I don't really get on stage in Bulgaria very often, so yeah, very, very fortunate and happy to be here. Yes, I'm representing actually European Female Founders Forum, which is something that we have started 2 or 3 weeks ago. Here in Sofia, actually, with the support of Commissioner Gabriel. And the goal of our forum is actually to support and empower more women to start businesses. So they have one, I would say, European umbrella or one place where they can reach out for help if they want to get into the startup world. Aside, I would say that I like to say that I'm actually a computer nerd. By background, but entrepreneur by heart. I have 3 startups behind my back. I'm running a non-profit organization for women in technology, where we get together, share knowledge, support and inspire each other, learn some computer programming as well. And I'm also running Nordic Women in Tech Awards. I'm based in Denmark, so that came a little bit natural to start it there. But yeah, I always loved technology, and I knew that I wanted to build a career in tech. And I also experienced all the challenges that you can experience when you get into the industry. So I wanted to support others going through the same challenges, or at least tell them that it is going to be hard, but that doesn't mean that you have to give up, because at the end, especially if you want to go with your own business, I mean, the feeling when you succeed is just amazing. So every first step is difficult, but time actually shows, yeah, the success is just something that you celebrate for quite some time again. So, yeah.
Thank you. I know a lot to think about you, and I'm sure that we will pick them out during the discussion. Plamena is really one of the engine of the European female entrepreneurship. So it is lovely to be here. She just liked to Sofia, especially for our event. Again, warm welcome. Thank you. Okay, our next guest. What can I say for her? For sure, when we discuss which will be the participant of this panel, everybody said only one name for sure, certain. And this is Elena Nikolova from CEO Angels Club. She's not only this, she's not only the female that actually dealing with the investment, but also she's an inspirator. She's leading several groups and initiatives in Bulgaria connected with the female entrepreneurship. So Elena, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much. I flew from the other side of the city, so please applaud me for this, because it's a big challenge. No, I'm joking. Thank you very much. It's an honor for me to be here. Actually, Kristina, I see that we have a very huge mistake that we did, and this is that we didn't invite men for this panel, which is a huge problem. Next time we need to have a few more males. Yes. What can I say? Currently, I'm a community manager in CEO Angels Club. I have entrepreneurial background. For the last 7 years, I'm co-founder of a startup here in Bulgaria, and I'm passionate about female entrepreneurship. A few years ago, we co-founded non-formal group on female entrepreneurship in Bulgaria. I co-wrote a book on this, inspiring young ladies to pursue careers as founders. I started a podcast, and it's a huge mission for me to try to inspire other ladies to become entrepreneurs and to transfer my knowledge to all ladies that are interested in entrepreneurship. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Only two microphones and so many females, as you know, there will be some difficulties. So apologize for this. Of course, this is a joke. Our next guest in this inspirational panel is Monique Kustanishev. The thing that I can share with her, and a little bit later on the discussion, you will understand how important exactly it is to showing the good example, to making awareness, to inspire and to support the young females and young entrepreneurs to succeed, to manage to share their stories. And for me, it's a great pleasure to say hi to Monique, who is the CEO and founder, not founder, but CEO of DIR.BG. Monique, how is it?
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be part of this panel, and I'm very happy to know the people, the women, inspiring women who are to speak today. I'm chair of the board of DIR.BG, and also I'm a founder of Active Group, PR agency. Also, I'm an investor of CEO Angels, and we're working together with Elena. And recently, together with Kristina, we are both members of the steering committee of Bulgarian Innovation Forum. My background has started long time ago. I don't want to mention how long time ago.
Yesterday. It was yesterday.
So, and I am coming from the field of journalism. And all my life, I'm involved in the field of communication and media and PR. And maybe more than 20 years ago, I have created first my own PR agency, which very soon became one of the leading PR agencies in the country. And what really motivated me for all this time, especially when someone was coming to tell me this company, I remember this very interesting example where when a very well-recognized sociologist in Bulgaria came to me asking me, what are you going to do now? You are not anymore in journalism. And I said, I'm going into PR, I want to create my own PR agency. And he said, no way, this is not fit for women. So a few years later, he came to me and asked me, okay, you're one of the most successful in this field. Can you work for me? Because I had a client I want to introduce him to you. So what I want to say is that when we fight with this paradigm that women cannot succeed in certain fields, this should really make us more ambitious. And I'm absolutely certain that later when we're speaking about the role models and women entrepreneurship, we'll find many examples of successful women who can inspire us.
Thank you, and of course, part of them you can see on live here. Our next participant is Rumyana Grozeva. I'm wondering in which hat to represent her. She's quite passionate about entrepreneurship. Actually, I know that she do a lot of effort to develop Zagore as a startup hub, and of course, we as ecosystem supporting her, but Rumyana is a regional economic development agency, the director of it, and she's dealing with, I don't know, politicians, SMEs, academia, VCs, banks, international projects. So, Rumyana, what explains you the best as a female entrepreneur?
First, thanks for having me today and all these hats actually. Actually, women could be in any field successfully in full extent. I mean, there is no limits for women spirit to inspire, to work, to support, to succeed. What you present for me is actually, I would say for me that I'm a kind of not social society entrepreneur. Because in order to have supportive policies at the local or regional or national level, somebody should work with politicians, mainly local, national, with businesses, with banks, in order to change mindset, to change the environment, to change the supportive policies for girls, young girls, teenagers also, and after that, because the entrepreneurships should start to develop since the kindergarten, in my opinion, because of my job, which has a lot of very much. I have a chance to visit a lot of countries, a lot of regions where the entrepreneurship is actually starting for really for the kindergarten, with small games, with raw games, but supporting the ecosystem not only for women but its mixture. Because what Elena said is absolutely correct. I remember probably 10 years ago, we had a Peace Corps volunteer in the office. She was not so young lady, but she was working for the American Air Force as a psychologist, and coming in the office, we were only women, and she said, "You have a huge problem. You need men here. The energy should be mixed." And yes, she was right, actually.
Yeah, the diversity is a huge amount of our life. And for me, it's a great pleasure to give a floor, of course, to Diane Nevin, who is the director and founder of International Female Accelerator. Just before I give her a floor, I can share with her that, with you, that she is the person who found me, tracked me, hunt me, and said, okay, I want to bring a female strong program worldwide on the market. I want to show that the female startup could cover biotech, AI, big tech, and actually it will be supported by different government, by different sponsors, etc. And actually I believe her, and thanks to this, Diane, special thanks again being with us today. I'm sure that our audience will eager to hear more about you, about your passion, about the female entrepreneurship, and of course the program in which for sure I can to share that we having a Bulgarian startups there, so it's a good news for us. So hi Diane.
Hi Kristina, thank you so much for having me, and it's a great pleasure to see all of the amazing panel that's here. And unfortunately I'm saddened that I couldn't be there today from Ireland, but I'll certainly make it my mission to be there the next time around. So I'm delighted, as Kristina said, I'm CEO of the Great International Female Accelerator, and Kristina has been a big part of that, so thank you, Kristina. And our mission really was to work with women in life science and digital health, to help them on their mission, to give them the confidence and the knowledge really to build a large global organization, but certainly to identify their funding strategy and the investment of where they are currently now and where they hope to be in the future. So the program has been a huge success. We're coming to the end of our program, a virtual program with over 16 countries and the UK, and we've had lots of partners, Roche, fantastic organization, and our partners IBM, Microsoft, and we have our pitching ceremony next week, which Kristina will chair also, where our organizations will pitch, and we have investors, so any of the amazing investors that are here today that would like to facilitate and be part of that, because it is an invitation only. We've had 16, as I said, amazing women, and it would be a great opportunity for them to showcase. And again, a little bit around lastly is that we're opening up the program again over the summer months, and I'll be able to share information with you and Kristina. So I'm really looking forward to the conversation. Thank you again, Kristina.
Great, thank you, Diane. Great being here with us. Okay, let's start the discussion. I think that people are getting first impression on us, but usually people, when they meet me and ask me why you dealing with all these things, why you spending so much time on investing on startups, on people, on female entrepreneurship, and I always said that The idea of this is connected with I used to have a fantastic opportunity to meet very inspirational females during my life. They supporting me in each step. I remember after our first pre-meeting, actually, I started to think how many females actually supporting me in my professional career, and I can assure you that in any step there was one at least. So my question to ladies is, do you have some certain role models that inspired you to take this really hard and really busy way to being a female entrepreneur? Okay, woman.
I think one of the reasons that I actually started all these initiatives was because I was lacking role models and I was lacking support. But if I go back a little bit, I would say that my biggest role models were my parents actually, because my mom was an entrepreneur, so I think it was natural for me to become an entrepreneur as well. She kind of inspired me and made me a fighter person who doesn't give up, who works on ideas. So I didn't have other role models apart from her actually. So that's why I felt like I needed to surround myself with people having the same passion, not exactly the same interest, but at least the passion. So you surround yourself with these amazing people and they lift you up. And I think this is the power of actually having role models. So
I don't think that I had a role model when I was starting my business a few years ago, but maybe now is the time to say that when we were starting, we were part of 11 Accelerator program and we were surrounded by successful entrepreneurs. And I believe this is one of the things that our ecosystem needs. And I think it is actually at a very good stage right now where we can have a place and an ecosystem where we can support each other. So I would maybe here try to ask, maybe actually I can ask you, are you a mentor of somebody or do you have a mentor currently? A question for the audience. You're a mentor? Okay, and do you have mentors? Okay, I'm happy to see a few hands, but this is something that I would like to encourage you, and I have a mentor myself, which is a lady that helps me during when I have a challenge in work or in my personal life. And I think that this is something that is not very well developed here in Bulgaria, and I want to see it more and more. So these are my 5 cents on this topic.
Okay, I think we having already starting a new project from the autumn. I will remind you. Okay, Monica, what about you? Do you have certain role models or females that inspired you to become a female entrepreneur?
Thank you for the question. Like most of you, I like reading. And when I was a teenager, I was reading for many inspirational women. And we were having a lot about them in the news. I can point out many of them. I remember the first women who really inspired me, not by knowing her personally, but it was Benedict. If you remember her, she was a Pakistani Prime Minister, and at the age of 35, she became Prime Minister of Pakistan, winning the elections, and a few years later, unfortunately, she was assassinated. But this woman, she has changed the model of democracy in Pakistan, and I was, since teenage years, I was really interested in politics at that time, so I think it was a really inspiring role model. And lately, maybe my role model at home was my father, because he was a journalist. But speaking about women, lately I met and met an amazing woman. This is Monique Kustanishev. I hope you have heard this name, but this is a big name of Bulgarian journalism. And coming from this background, I can say that she really gave me a lot of passion and understanding of how the real and good journalism should look like. This woman, she made a revolution at the beginning of the 90s of Bulgarian media, and I was the I was having this very good chance, great chance to be part of her team in the Bulgarian national television as a reporter. So I was happy that somebody was a real national figure, my mentor in my past.
Thank you. Rumi, what about you?
Actually, my first role model was my mom, because she's everyone Bulgarian woman. She was dealing with family, with her job, with all the things that she has to do during the only 24 hours day. But as Monica said, I really was interested to read such a book, and the biography of Margaret Thatcher was probably the most inspiring me, and this is why I had my own business before, but after when I became mom, and there was a lot of time which was needed to dedicate to my daughter, actually I decided to start to work some job dedicated to the society, to the changes, etc., etc. And actually this biography book, and after that the movie with Meryl Streep as starring, it was really inspired me to continue to deal, because it's not always easy. What I should say that actually the agency, it sounds as a state institution, but actually it's an NGO. And each one project is successful as for our team. And it's motivate me again, even after this conference that we had in the end of last week in Zagore with Maria Gabriel and Bart, dedicated to the hydrogen economy, something totally new, especially in the region of Zagore, which is the second most developed in Bulgaria, but because of the coals and energy produced on this base, etc. This a really huge change is motivating me again and again. I know it will not be easy, but we're winning.
Yeah, we shoot with the hard things. Okay, Diane, what about you? I know that you are surrounded by very powerful, very talented, very proven specialist female entrepreneurs. So, could you please point us do you have some role models that you're following and make you the successful as you are?
I think my inspiration really comes from is working with the women that I get the opportunity and very fortunate to work with every day. From again the 16 inspirational women that we're working with currently on the program, but also from the boards. The board's been an amazing female founders and industry experts from over 9 different countries. But if I was to pick one today, I would actually pick you, Kristina, because you are the chair of the board. And in terms of the person that I would look to on a daily basis, and probably have driven you crazy at times, you've really initiated the program, and it's always something to work with and share something with a like-minded woman, and you're very inspirational, and I always feel you have my back. And even from an opportunity to discuss the program here today, thank you so much for the invitation. So you're somebody that I find is an inspiration, and really somebody that wants to aspire and work with female entrepreneurs, so thank you.
Thank you, Diane. I believe that we all think like this. By being together, this strong energy feel us motivated, inspirational, supportive, so really appreciated. From my point of view, I just want to say a very curious fact for our audience. Actually, do you know that the first programmer in the civilization history is a female? Yes, Ada Lovelace, and she is the daughter of Lord Byron. So if you want to hear more, of course, please read, please take acknowledgement of this successful, these amazing females that actually contribute so much on the world. Okay, going on the next discussion. Sometimes people say that when there is a challenge, it's actually opportunity. But being a female entrepreneur is, let's say, also like a challenge. I feel it like this. So I'm curious, what are the major challenges that you're facing when you introduce yourself as a female entrepreneur? So the challenges, probably, Plamena, you can share in Nordic and in Bulgaria. It will be interesting.
Yeah, actually, I started my first company when I was 16 years old here in Bulgaria, and to be honest with you, I didn't face any challenges at that time. No, but it was the first experience that you get as an entrepreneur, and I had a full support of my family at that time. So I didn't really feel like I was challenged in any way at that time. When I started my first company officially on my own, this is where the challenges started. So first of all, I didn't know where to start because my parents did not know anything about technology. It was a tech startup, so I couldn't get any support from them. I didn't know anything about incubators. I didn't have access to the information that I needed. And I also grew up in a quite small town. So in this town, no one talks about startups, no one talks about innovation. And this is, I'm talking about year 2006. This is this was quite some time ago. So I started actually reaching out to a lot of people in Varna, hear the stories from people starting their own businesses. And one of the challenges that I experienced, apart from access to information, was that I wasn't taken seriously because at that time I was 19 years old. And no one could believe that a 19 years old can actually start a business and a successful one. I did manage because the more people were telling me that I'm not good enough and I'm way too young to start, the more that was motivating me, you know. But yeah, it's just, you can say that there are small storms on the way. There are many. It can be age, it can be gender specific, it can be that people don't believe in your idea. I started 3 companies, so I think I went through all possible challenges. So I don't think that we have enough time to go through all of them. But I think the access to information and being taken seriously are the 2 main ones that really, because when I go and pitch my idea at that time, they would just, they would just laugh at me. So yeah, I think those are the 2 main ones that I remembered. Yes, Lady.
Actually, with a very close friend of mine, we recently discussed that probably the only good thing by getting older is that people started to take me serious. So this is probably what woman is still. Okay, Elena, what about you? And I hope that you will discover a little bit more about the investment challenges in front of the female entrepreneurs.
I think it's a topic for another conversation and for an event only on this topic because it's a huge one. But I want to stress on 2 things that I've seen during my entrepreneurial way journey. One of them is that I think there is lack of role models when it comes to female entrepreneurs. This is my personal opinion. In media, on TV, I don't see a lot of female entrepreneurs as role models, and that's why I've always thought that media is a huge stakeholder when it comes to promoting female entrepreneurship. Maybe Monica will have another view on this. So I would really want to see more female entrepreneurs out there, and also I think it is our responsibility to put them in the projector light. And then another thing, as I'm part of CEO Angels Club and I've read a lot of research on investment in female startups, I've seen that in venture funds and in angel investing, there are less women angel investors, and this definitely results in less startups that are funded by less female-led startups that are funded by venture capital and angel investing. According to different research, there are different numbers, but it is around 20% that are female investors, and this is definitely connected also with the women receiving less funding. But I've read a couple of interesting researches on biases and gender stereotypes when startups are pitching. Maybe you have heard of this, but I actually want to recommend the book for you, Invisible Woman. If you haven't read it, I forgot the name of the author, but definitely read it. And there are a couple of research on how investors ask questions when they hear startup entrepreneurs pitching. And there are these kind of promotional pointed questions and preventive questions, if I'm not mistaken. The promotional questions are when you stress on the successes and the potential gains, whereas preventive questions are the ones where you focus on the things that can get wrong. And according to these researches, investors ask men promotional questions, and when there is a woman entrepreneur, they ask them preventive questions. And startups with promotional questions receive 6 times more funding compared to woman-led startups. So maybe what I would like to encourage you is to try to look for these biases and stereotypes and prejudices that we all have, even men and women, without understanding this, and just to think twice before we are giving an opinion or we are communicating with other people in the ecosystem. So yes, these are the
example for such sentence.
can I read it? Because I think I promote highlighting upside and potential gains. This might be a question where the founder is asked, how do you plan to reach 1 million in revenue? Whereas the other type of questions would be, don't you think that this competitor might ruin your business? I'm just brainstorming, but you can understand and see the difference in both questions. And this was something that I think that most investors don't understand, but that's why it's good to learn more about this and maybe spot it after that when we see it.
Right, thank you, very useful, and I can confirm that usually, and in addition, I can add, do you plan to have a kids in the next 2 years? So yeah, unfortunately, this is the situation that we are dealing as a female entrepreneur. Okay, Monica, about coming from your point of view, what are the major challenges that you face during your career?
During my experience, the major challenge was that of finance. I feel very carefully what Elena is saying, and she's having a different point of view as a perspective, because she's looking at it as an investor. But I think you also have the both ways. You know that there are not enough women entrepreneurs and women daring to run for and to develop their company. But also, I think that there is biased attitude towards women who want to succeed in business. And I've met such an attitude to me, and for me, I think that we need to have more confidence. We need to believe in ourselves more and to dream big, because this is all about our passion. And also, we need to fight to change the model, because this is true that the banking institutions, the venture capital funds, they are having this very often this attitude of okay, if it is a man, he can succeed. If it is a woman, he might, not succeed. So this is an attitude that I feel for many years, and it's starting to change. But I think we can do much more about this.
Right, and something need to add in, again, discussion about why is the situation like this. One of my favorite answer was, it's starting from the kindergarten, as Rumyana said, but even from the family, because if you have boy and girl, the boy is quite smart and the girl is quite pretty. So this is the change of mind that we're supposed to do. Of course, a little bit later I will ask Plamena probably why in this case the AI is such a success. Probably she will explain us, but now to Rumyana. Okay, Rumyana, which are the major challenges, especially that coming not only being a Bulgarian, not only to being female, but also being member of a citizen of a regional city, not the capital. So I'm guessing that the challenges are much bigger. What do you think?
Yes, actually, the attitude in these fields, it's not so different than the business field itself. What I mean, my major challenge is to coordinate politicians and businessmen, and etc. What I mean, we have 11 municipalities in the region, and they should be coordinated, they should be matched what the next steps at the regional level should happen. I mean, it's not easy, especially when major part of mayors are men, and someone going there and said, you should coordinate this one, you should prepare and apply policies for example, female entrepreneurship. What? What about roads? What about buildings? What female entrepreneurs? Forget about this. This is the first challenge at the local level. It's very difficult to coordinate people at these positions, which after electing them, they suddenly forgot that these municipalities are not their own. They're elected there to develop these municipalities to create opportunities for young people and not only for them. The first challenge. The second one, to be a regional city, not capital. In Bulgaria, we are like a banana republic. I'm sorry about this, but we have very well developed capital, very well, and province is somewhere there, out west. Yeah, and thanks for that. Actually, last year's Plovdiv is, let's say, a fast developed city. Burgas trying to make some brave steps. Varna is somewhere there on north, but actually we have capital and some country, no regions, no regional policy which to support this smart specialization. At the European level, the main and major challenge is to change this attitude to Bulgarian organizations, that they should be good partners, that they will implement all of their roles and activities successfully. And actually, for me, the great success of the agency in its 25 years history is that we're the only one leading Bulgarian organization is in a program funded directly by Brussels, not by Bulgarian government, by the operational program. A lot of challenges also, not only in the business field, but also in this society fields which support this ecosystem, not only for female entrepreneurship, but also for startups and etc.
And it's like the diversity, minority to being a startup out of Sofia. Okay, Diane, next to you. The question is the same about the challenges, but I'm also curious because I know quite well that right now the program is running out. You have over 20 amazing ladies on board all over the world. So I'm guessing that they're sharing the common challenges, and can you please share with us what they're sharing with you, what they're saying, what they're complaining or seeing like opportunities?
Sure, and unfortunately, it's the very same thing that all of the ladies addressed there. I think really there's a lot of challenges and barriers for being a female, certainly around recent investment. And the ladies that we're working with, it's a very global problem, an international problem, is that they're working in emerging markets. So they need a considerable amount of funding. And the evidence, the factual evidence shows that male founders or male-oriented teams do considerably better in terms of raising investment than females do. It also, we look at the factual evidence that they're also at a higher rate to be referred, as a warm introduction to a VC. Now, if you're introduced as a warm welcome, you have a higher possibility of having a meeting with the VC. And I guess in terms of the conversations with the current investors that are working with female founders and the female founders themselves, in terms of the questions that have been just addressed there that they may be asked, that would never be asked as a female founder. And I think that's something that we have to address, and that's why it's really important, and I'm so delighted and privileged to be here today, is that we have to address it, that it is happening every day. And certainly there is bias, but there's the evidence really shows that there's unconscious bias also as human beings, that we want to work with people that we look like, or they sound like us, and male to male environment, that can happen quite well. And I think it's really our job is to break down those barriers and to call them out for what they are really, in terms of that you should be able to get the access to funding as a male, and it's something that we need to really work in now and in the future.
Thank you. Yeah, totally agree. For sure. Unfortunately, I see the time is running, yeah, quite fast. And I have so many questions. That's why I will ask one question. First, one additional thing that I also will ask you. The question is, of course, because we're talking about the good examples. Of course, from each of you, I want to share with us, do you know, and would you recommend a good initiative, organization dealing with the female entrepreneurship? And one sentence is, what advice can you give to female entrepreneurs, those that young girls that are dreaming to become more like us? Okay, Plamena?
Yes, I think it's pretty clear which example I'm going to give. It's a European Female Founders Forum, something we're developing right now. We want to see more women jumping in. We want to see and hear if they have any ideas, if they want to develop a product, to start their own business. At least now you know that you actually have like one umbrella under Europe that you can a forum that you can reach out to whenever you need help and support, because I think this is a good starting point. We all know that it's very, very difficult at the beginning, and it's I would say it's scary, and a lot of people are afraid actually of failure before they have even tried. And I can just tell you that you're gonna fail a lot. You just get used to it, you know. It's just like failure is not as painful as it is embarrassing sometimes, but it's just a failure, you know. You fail, you try, you fail, you try, and then at the end you succeed. But if you have never taken the first step, you never know whether you're going to succeed. I have 4 failed startups. I lost a lot of money, and I'm still going to do it again. It's because it's so good when people come to you and they say, thanks to you, I didn't give up. It's so nice. That means that I have done my job. So one sentence, don't overthink it. Don't think, act. Take the first step, give it a go. That's it.
I think this is count on each type of entrepreneur. Okay, Elena?
Yes, I want to mention 2 organizations and projects that I think are very important for our ecosystem. One of them is Tinovator, which is a organization that promotes startup clubs at schools, and I think they will start their 5th year in September, and they do amazing work not only in Sofia but across Bulgaria in promoting entrepreneurship, not only female entrepreneurship. But I agree that we can start promoting entrepreneurial skills as early as possible. And this is in schools. They are teenagers at 16, 17 years old. It's an amazing project. You can become a mentor, sponsor, whatever you like. So please Google it. And then the other project that I was part of a few years ago is Rails Girls Sofia, and it is connected with increasing the ICT skills among women and among girls. It's a free one-day workshop where women from all ages and backgrounds learn to code, especially on Ruby on Rails. But as we know, that technology and software companies are the companies that are going to become unicorns, generally speaking. I think that women need also to improve their knowledge in ICT skills. As for the advice, actually, Plamena, you took my words. I was going to say act, but maybe I'm going to give another perspective on failure, because I think the Western society kind of put failure as a step to success. Don't fail, succeed. This is going to be my advice.
Monica?
Thank you. I'm part of one very interesting organization called Ladies Forum. This is a big association of ladies CEOs and founders of very successful businesses. And I'm part of this organization for years. It's a very, very vibrant and very alive society of women who have achieved really, the heights of in their fields and in their companies. And they're very inspirational role models. They could be very inspirational role models for many young women. And as for advice, just very simple, never give up.
Thank you. Rumyana?
Is that the same ladies forum which is cooperate with the Chamber of Commerce?
Okay, it's the same. Validated.
Yes, the same one, and this was my idea also. We had started some communication to have such a forum also in Zagore. I hope it will be a success as results, but yes, there are a lot of projects and programs which funded female entrepreneurship programs, etc. One of suggested by the agency during the cooperation with PricewaterhouseCoopers, the consultancy company which was subcontracted by the European Commission to prepare the Just Transition Plan of Zagore. We suggested to have also such programs for women in the region, because I'm sure that we were talking for skilling for people who are engaging in the mining complex. Without the support of their wives and girlfriends, they will not be so brave to try something new. And my advice is act, react, impact.
Fantastic, thank you. Okay, Diane.
I'd
Advice.
Yeah, I'd like to echo everything really that AG said there, because I agree on all the points. And I guess on my end is that I think it's really important to support other women. And I see that with the 16 women and the interaction. And I always believe that, I love the quote that fix another woman's crown without telling the world it's crooked. And I think that you need to collaborate, to support each other. And really, another quote that I love also is that you can't be her if you can't see her. So supporting young girls in underrepresented areas, having that mentorship, and really just supporting each other, even if it's a simple thing, is that if you're looking at a panel, and I know we're discussing about female entrepreneurship, we're all females here together, but in the future, if there is a male-orientated panel, and it's a very much male-orientated event, that you do speak up and say, you do need to have, this needs to be a bit more diverse, and support females throughout. I think that's really important.
Thank you. And at the end, my favorite organization, all of us, all mentioned, of course, was AI Girls, was Girls Go Circular, was many more small initiatives next to a different, I know, even schools, small municipalities. All of them are really recommended by me because they are leading and they are opening opportunities for the young girls. And my advice to them, of course, is to take advantage of this lovely ecosystem. Please search for us, please ask us. We are open ecosystem and we are ready warmly to welcome. So think big, work hard, and become part of our ecosystem. So this is from our panel. Thank you. Big applause for these inspirational ladies. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the speakers and to you, and we would like to welcome you to the next pause where you can discuss and learn more about the network with the speakers. And I would like to inform you that after the event, we are going to share the contacts of all the speakers so you can have the opportunity to ask them more questions.